swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much. Have a seat, adjust the microphone, speak into the microphone. Thank you. For the purposes of the record, please state your full legal name.
Beth Gregory Barron.
Thank you.
Hi, Ms. Barron.
Hello.
How do you know James David Barron?
How do I know James David Barron?
Do you know him?
I do.
How do you know him?
He was my husband for 22 years.
So you were married for 22 years. How long were you dating prior to getting married?
A few years. 2 years.
So how long do you think in total you were with
So
Mr. Barron?
25 years.
Did you have any kids as a result of that marriage?
I did. I have two boys, Evan and Colt,
Evan and Cole. That was going to be my next question.
and 5 grandchildren.
Would you be able to state the ages of your grandkids?
Oh, ages. One is 2 days old.
2 days old,
One is 3 months old.
3 months old.
I have twins that are 4,
Okay,
and Maddie is 2.
got it. So after your divorce with David, did you two remain friends?
We did. Yeah, we were good friends.
Did you remain friends all the way up until his death?
We did. We were.
And had you ever met Suzanne Mericle, the defendant in this case?
I have.
How many times would you say you've met her?
We met 3 times, 3 different times.
Were they just like random meetings? Were there occasions kind of coupled with those meetings?
Yeah, one was a birthday party, and the other was at my brother's memorial golf tournament, and then at Thanksgiving.
And how did that go, the times that you met Miss Mericle? Like, was there any animosity? Did you guys get along well?
Yeah, we were fine.
And did you two ever communicate outside of the times that you had been as a family together in person?
We did. Yeah.
Was it normal for her to like just reach out to you and be like, hey, how's it going? How are you? Anything like that?
She reached out to send some pictures through a text of my brother's golf tournament. She also texted and called me a few times.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as what states 199E. You could just take a look at this.
Okay.
Have you seen what states 199E is before?
Yes, I have.
Are those either phone calls or text messages between you and Miss Mericle?
They are.
Okay. And Judge, at this point, I would tender states 199E into evidence.
No further objection to 199E.
Admitted.
Permission to publish, Judge?
Yes.
Did Miss Mericle call you on the night of December 28th, 2024?
She did.
Do you remember what time it was?
I've written in my notes 8:49
PM or AM?
p.m.
What was her demeanor like when she called you?
She was, her demeanor was, she was inquiring. She was, normal. I can't say anything.
Was she like upset, happy, laughing, crying, something different?
Somewhere in between.
Okay. I'm gonna show you states 199E. Did she also text you at any point?
She did.
What did she say to you on that phone call on December 28th of 2024?
She was inquiring about some women that she had found David texting.
Who were the women that she had found David texting?
She was asking about Laura.
Who's Laura?
Laura is David's second wife.
Okay.
Laura Barron. Yeah.
Anybody else?
And then she also asked about Lilia.
Who's Lilia?
At that point, I didn't know. I really don't know anything about Lilia.
So had you ever heard that name before the night that the defendant called you?
The first night, no, I had not.
What was she asking you specifically about Lilia? What was she asking you on the phone about that?
On December 28th, she was asking, did I know her? Who was she? Had ever heard of her? Just, questioning, did I know her? And I did not at that point.
Did she mention to you an argument between her and David at all? Like a physical argument or anything from that night?
Not on December 28th, no.
Did you end up hearing that whether or not there had been some sort of argument that night later on?
At that point, I did not know that.
What about later on? Did you ever find out if there was or wasn't some sort of argument that night?
Later, I found out that there was.
I'm going to go through, so that was December 28th that she called you. I'm going to go, whoop. So now, do you see where my mouse is right here
I do.
for February 3rd, 2025?
Yes.
This is from, so this is February 3rd, 2025 at 9:19 p.m. If you could read this message right here from Suzanne.
Okay, this is from Suzanne. Hey there, hope you are doing well. Have you spoken with Evan lately?
And then is the next message your response?
And I said, yes, is everything okay?
And what does she say in response to that?
That unfortunately, I have found out several things about David that are shocking. I am trying so hard to digest this. I have included your sons. I hated to, but someone needs to intervene.
And then does she text you again
Yes.
right below that, if you wouldn't
Yes.
mind reading that?
And she said, you have all been so gracious and loving to me. I am having a hard time.
So, and then at the bottom of this page is your response, if you could read that.
Well, as a mom, I try to protect my boys from the bad, as I'm sure you would with your kids. Please go easy with them.
So now moving on to page 2 of the exhibit. We're still on February 3rd at 9:24 p.m. You text again. What do you say there?
I said, I say this in the most loving way to you.
And then what is, I think she has the next,
Yeah.
the rest of these are all her, if you could read
Yes,
those.
Yes. And then she said, I guess responding to when I said go easy on them, she said, I am. And then she said, can you talk?
And then right there, it looks like it says love. Does that
That was like a heart.
like a heart
emoji.
on your message? And then what does she say there?
And she said, they need your guidance.
And then what does she say below that?
And she said, that is why I'm reaching out to you.
So then I'm just going to slide down some. So then right back, you respond with this, if you wouldn't mind reading
Yeah,
that.
please just text me for now and I can talk tomorrow.
And then she responds what?
And then she said, you know David and you love your boys.
And then what do you say back?
And I said, tell me what I can do to help David.
And then she says we can talk tomorrow, right?
Yes.
And then what did you say back to that?
Okay, I'll call you and you can let me know if it's convenient.
So that was at 9:27 p.m. You had established, okay, we're going to talk tomorrow.
Right.
Then less than 20 seconds later, she continues the conversation. What does she say there?
She said, he has been living a separate life with a woman.
And then what do you say in response?
And then I said, is David living at the house?
And she says, yes. Is that her?
And she said, yes.
Okay. I'm going to go on to page 3. Now we're at 9:27 on that same day. You say,
And I said, oh no, but I think that was in response to a prior text.
okay. So then she has the next 2 messages, if you could read
Yep.
those.
He has been sending her money and communicating with her constantly for years.
And then you ask her a question. What do you ask
And I
her?
said, are you trying to work things out or is it too much?
And then she says what in
She said,
response?
please keep this between us. He became so angry with me when I contacted you and Evan, last time this happened. But my gut, and I don't know that she finished that sentence.
So when she says he became so angry with me when I contacted you and Evan last time, do you believe she's referring to the December 28th incident?
Yes.
Is that the only other time that she contacted
Yes.
both you and Evan about this? Or
That's
at least that you know of?
For me, yes, just for
Okay.
me, yeah.
So then, what do you say right there?
I said, I have not talked to David at all since we talked.
And then what does she say back?
I love him so much. He is everything to me. I am so hurt.
And then you say what?
And then I said, so there is hope.
And then she has the next two messages, if you could read those.
I honestly do not know. He will not talk. I found out he is taking care of her and her daughter. Thousands of dollars each month. And then I said, oh my gosh.
And then she says, I
said-
know, crazy, right?
Yep.
And then what do you say back?
And I said, my kid's inheritance.
And then what do you say again?
And I said, just kidding, but not really.
Let me ask you before I continue to reading. Once the family found out about David sending money to this Lilia, were you happy about the news?
No, not at all.
And as far as you could tell, were your kids happy with the news?
No.
So then Suzanne replies at 9:33 and says, what?
Let's see, grandchildren's college fund, yes. And then I said, why can't he break away from her? What does she have over him?
And then she responds at 9:34. What does she
She said, I
say?
put so much money in the house. He said he did not have it.
And then what did you say
I said,
back?
well, I guess he does.
And then what do you say? I think the next couple are you.
Yeah, why would he do that? That's beyond me.
And then she replies, what?
She said, I don't know. I am baffled and he will not talk.
So then you say, so he admitted it at 9:35, and what does she say back?
She said, I thought your boys should know.
Then what does she say at the bottom of page 4?
Then Evan saw an invoice a few years ago on his desk. He confronted David.
And at the top of page 5, we can see that she liked your, so he admitted it. And then what do you say back?
And then I said, how old is her daughter?
And then what does she say?
Then she said, they are on Facebook. And then she is 21.
And then what was your response?
And then I said, oh gosh, and this is terrible for me to say, but I said, is the mom Euro trash?
And so we can see that below that at 9:48 on February 3rd, she sends you 2 links. I'm going to try and zoom in. Do you remember what this was?
One was a picture of Lilia.
Is this like a Facebook page?
It is her Facebook page.
So she's sending you screen captures of these people's Facebooks. So one is Lilia, who's the other one?
And the other is her daughter.
Daughter. Okay, so I'm gonna, try and zoom in. So that's like a screen capture of the Facebook.
Right.
Okay. So then, what do you say back at
I said,
9:49?
wow, they are pretty.
And then you said, so weird.
Weird.
And then what do you say again?
And then I said, so did David say he would stop with the money and communication?
And what does Suzanne say?
Suzanne, I guess, replied to the above, gorgeous, you think she is not dating others?
And then top of page 6, she replies again.
I am so shocked. What does she have?
And then what do you
And
say?
then I said, I don't know. I'll call you tomorrow.
And then does Suzanne just love that, your message?
Yep.
And then what does she say below that?
She said, I am praying for us.
And then the next 2 messages, if you could read those.
I said, you have to know we all are. And then I said, we love you.
And then what does she say back?
I said, I know I've fallen in love with all of you. You have an amazing family, like my children.
And that is the bottom of that. So at the time when you were getting those messages from Suzanne, what was going through your head like? What was going through your head when she's texting you all this information about Lillian?
I really didn't want to get involved. I wanted to stay out of it. I wanted my boys to stay out of it. It started sounding a little spicy to me, and I just did not want to go much further.
Of the times that, did she ever, after that texting conversation that you had with her, did she ever reach out to you again about Lilia at all that you remember? Like over phone or maybe even in person?
No. No.
Did she ever confide in you that David had been physically abusive to her?
No.
Did she ever mention any sort of like emotional abuse or controlling behavior from David?
No.
Did she ever ask you about physical abuse at all in terms of David?
No.
Don't have any other questions, thank you.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. You're excused. What do you have?
That's all that the state has to